Okay, welcome back to Mr. Turner's art class. What you're looking at here is a value study project that I'm going to do for my students. The reason the hand looks kind of like a werewolf hand, or I don't know, a vampire hand, is because it's getting ready to be Halloween, and I am dealing with middle school kids, and so I want this hand to look a little more interesting. This is a old classic project, value study project, and except I've just made some subtle change to it, obviously, like with the claws and stuff like that. So we're just trying to make it a little more interesting and a little bit more realistic. You know, we want the hand to look like it's floating off like the hand is just above a table or something like that. So I'm not going to get into too much, like trying to redo this hand on here and color it. I'm going to show you how people generally make mistakes. And this goes for kids and adults, because this value study project is good for like middle school kids, high school kids, and even adults. But I'm going to go over the mistakes, because if this is done wrong, the hand itself, you know, it won't look right. And if you don't understand how to use a value scale, I would look into that first before trying to do this project, because it will not look right if you do not know how to manipulate a value scale. And I think I would give a brief lesson on it in one of my tutorials. So if I do, I'll put a link down there on this video. But okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the easiest part about this project is how you produce the hand. All you have to do is woo, red right there. Knock my camera over. All you generally have to do is put your hand down, and obviously the easiest part is to just trace your hand. I'm doing it like this because the camera's in the way. So you just basically trace your hand. That's the easy part. So you just do a basic contour drawing of hand. I'm going to go ahead and sketch this part in here for the wrist. Let's just do that. Okay, so you have your hand. The thing where people mess up this project is you're supposed to draw lines coming across. And when it hits the hand, it's supposed to make a curve. Each part of the hand it hits, it makes a curve. People tend to do this, and this is wrong. If you do this, this is absolutely, what I'm about to do right now is absolutely wrong. So you draw horizontal lines just coming straight across. And if I had a ruler, I'd make them straight, but I don't. So you can see right now that this does not look, you know, like this. You see how, like, I have curves on each part of the hand. Wherever there's a indentation or there's a bit of curvature, I have a curve. It starts off as a horizontal line, hits the hand, then it's a curve. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna draw something simple so you can understand this concept. If technically there is a can here, okay, so we have a can. I'm gonna sketch this out. I don't know, soup can. So here's my little quickly sketched out can. Okay, so we have a can. So if it was tilted, it's going to look like that. We know that it is round. Okay. We know that it's round, and this is slightly tilted. Now, if I turn around and have it facing you directly, it's going to look like a rectangle, of course, right? And I'm doing this because it's easier to show how to do this with a basic shape than something more complex like a hand. So we took our can and we got it facing us directly. Okay? Now, if I was going to draw the lines, so I got my horizontal line that's coming across. It's going to hit the can. It's going to stop. And then we're going to give it a curve. and then it's going to stop again, and then it's going to do like that. So each time a line comes across, hits the object, we're going to give it a curve. Stop, and then come across. So that's basically what you're doing. Now let's talk for a second about something like this. So let's do a finger. Let's say I got 2 fingers, and I'm gonna make them big so you can see it. So that's finger number 1, and that's finger number 2. So again, when the line comes across, well, let me go ahead and do that just so you know it's a finger. Got a hangnail. So we know that's a finger he got. We put a nail right there. Okay, so you got nail number 1, nail number 2. Now, each time the line comes across, you got your horizontal line. It's going to stop. It's going to hit the top, hit the object and stop. Then you're going to make a curve. Stop. I'm going to add another curve just because, like right here, because that's the edge of that fingernail. I'm going to produce another curve, and then I'm going to continue on my horizontal line. Hit the object again, stop. Make a curve, stop, and then come on around back with my horizontal line. So each time I come over here, this is basically what you're doing. This, you have enough lines, this will make the object look like it's floating on top of the paper. Stop, curve, horizontal line, curve. Now the reason you're going to need a ruler is because you want to keep this line and this line lined up. You don't want to come right here and then all of a sudden this line is too high or this line is too low. You want to come straight across, put your curve, make sure it's lined up with this one here, and then make sure it's lined up over here. Now, the thing that's going to make it look like it's floating is the shading. Okay, that's where I was saying you're going to have to know how to do a value scale. So, with each of these little curves, you notice the inside of the hand, the shadows. So, let's go back to this. I'm going to use another sheet of paper. Those of you that know what a value scale is, make a long story short, you need to go and do a project. You need to find a project, you go online. If I don't have a tutorial, okay, if I don't have a tutorial on here, I think I do, but you need to do this. You need to go online and you need to find something that looks like this. Type that in, Google it. Okay. Now, you need to, however you shade this thing in, you need to be able to go from a dark color to a light color. And I am rushing this. And that's white. I'm just going to leave that alone. So, black, dark gray, gray, white. Okay, you need to be able to do something like this. Value scale can be a lot longer than this though. Now, that concept is what you're going to be doing to this hand. I'm just going to do this. So let's talk about a finger real quick. So you got your lines. The line's going to come across here, and then it makes a curve. There. The line comes across here, makes a curve. There. Alright, so basically what's going to happen is I'm going to divide this thing up. The outside of the hand is going to be kind of dark. And that's if you can do this with black and white, and you can do this in color. But I'm just trying to give you an example. I'm going to start off when I shade the hand, whether it's color, pencil, whatever. This part right here is going to be dark. It's going to get lighter as I make my way to the center. Let me make that a little darker along the edge. So I'm getting lighter. I'm making my way to the center because I'm about to give this thing a highlight. So it's dark right here, dark gray, gray, white. White is in the middle. I'm gonna come on the other side. I'm basically doing the same thing. It's dark. And like I said, you can do this in black and white. You can do this in color. The only reason I'm doing this right now in color is because it's Halloween. I'm gonna let my kids do a little bit of color. Okay, so you get the point. This part right here is going to be dark. The edges are dark, and as you make your way to the center of the object is going to be light. Now, to get it to look right on the other side, you gotta do the same thing. Let me show you that. I'm just being nitpicky. I just want this whole thing to be. So you see how I'm shading kind of dark right there? And like I said, as you come out, it gets lighter. Alright, so let's talk about the outside edge. So what about the outside? You're going to basically do the exact same thing, except depending on where you want your shadow. So I am going to start off kind of dark along that. Wait a minute, let me draw that edge right there just so you can see it. So I'm going to start off kind of dark along the edge. I'll turn it this way so it's a lot faster. I usually like going in the same direction that the line is going. And then I am going to come out and get lighter. Like I said, you can do this with a color pencil. Now, if I'm actually being dead serious with this project, I would use a color complement along. If I'm doing this in color, I would use the color complements to create my shadows, but close to the object. But once I start going out away from the object, you know, the band or whatever you want to call it, each of the little bands, all I'm gonna do is just use the regular color. And I'll show you in just a second. I'll point it out. Okay, so the outside part here will be dark. As you come out, it will get light. Now I'll show you, I'll explain to you how I do this in color. So like I said, this can be done in black and white or in color. Just, I would say start off in black and white and then work your way into color, doing this in color. Okay, y'all should get the point, the idea right now. Alright, so let's look at it again. Alright, so generally I like doing both sides of the objects. That makes it look like it's floating. As I come up, I kind of get close to the object up here. It just depends on how I want to do the shadow. So the outside the object is going from dark to light. Inside the object is going from dark to light. The center of the object is going to be white. So that's why I said you need to know how to use a value scale. You know, already this thing looks like whatever it is, look like it's floating. Now, to do the project, whether it's in black and white or in color, let's go back to this. If you notice, if you're going to do this in black and white, one band should be, you know, obviously you're going to be using gray. So you'll be shading gray, next band will be white, next band will be gray, white, gray, white, gray. You know, since you're doing it in color, you can choose whatever colors you want. You can do the project in warm colors, you can do the project in cool colors, or you can do it in a mixture of colors, you know, like I've done here. The thing is, the shading, if you notice each one of the colors, like I'm going to use a red because you can probably see that one better. Okay, the band itself is red, but I use a dark red, which means I added a little bit of color to it along the edges of the object to create a shadow, and then I use a darker red to blend that shadow out further, and then I just went to my regular red. So basically I just use 3 different colors. Now if you don't have different you don't have color pencils or whatever with different shades of a color, you can either use a color complement to create a shadow, or you can just use black. That's why this looks the way it looks. I use the color complement to create a darker shadow of that red, and use a darker red right there, and came out. Did the same thing to green. I used the color complement to green to create that black looking shadow right there, and then I came out. If you see that, there's like a darker green right there, and then I went to a regular green. Same thing with the purple. You can also add black to it. So if you put purple down, press down hard on the purple. If you want to, you can add black on top of the purple and make it look darker. Then just come out and make the purple lighter. You know, the same thing with the blue. So I mean, it's an easy project. You know, you just have to experiment. I haven't finished this one yet. I'm actually going to go back and darken all of this and make it stand out more. I just didn't want to do it on here because it'll take forever and a day. This project will take a while to do and to get it right. A lot of people, when they do this project, they do not put the knuckles and stuff in the drawing. They just trace the hand and then they just, you know, just kind of go around it. I tend to put the knuckles and stuff in the details in the hand. So that gives me more curves. Every time I hit a knuckle, I make a curve. It comes across straight. Every time I hit a knuckle, make a curve. Come across, make a curve. Come across, make a curve. You know, it makes the hand more interesting. So it's not a boring project. I would even go so far as to, like, you know, see you have hands, you know, you got some veins and tendons and stuff. You actually can go back and add that in there. And I would. Usually my advanced students, that's what I would have them do. You know, add the veins, add the tendons and stuff like that. And every time you would come across a vein or something like that, you make a curve. Go back straight, make a curve. Curve, straight. So I hope this helps, you know, this project. I mean, maybe somebody's in college, you know, do the project like this, like I'm telling you. Don't do this. Do not do this. This right here, if you do this, this is going to suck. The project won't look right. It's going to be horrible. It's going to suck. You know, kind of do something similar to this. Make your curves. If you don't know how to shade, you do not know how to do this. Okay, you do not know how to use a value scale. Look up a value scale. Find a tutorial on value. Start doing value. You know, start doing a value scale. Learn how to do this. Learn how to do this before you start trying to tackle this. Alright, so I hope that helps. I will see you next time. Enjoy your project. Peace.